Can I have your attention for a minute? We can start here. That'll do it. I'll be, if I can have your attention, I'll be very brief. This is not a day for lectures from the faculty, which will probably make you applaud all the louder. This is a day, class day is the students' day. Every day should be the students' day, but this one is undeniably the students' day. My privilege, and I'm delighted to be asked to do this, is to welcome all of you, the class of 1993, your families, your friends, for this, which is unambiguously your day to celebrate the almost end of your time at the Kennedy School as students and the almost beginning of the next phase as alumni. But it's all part of the same family. So my privilege is simply to say welcome and to be delighted to share this with you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Oscar Arguelles. I'm a Mason student. Thank you. I'm a Mason Fellow, mid-career student from Mexico. First of all, I want to tell you that I have had no higher privilege or satisfaction than belonging to the class of '93 at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard. Thank you very much. We would like you to welcome to Class Day. This is a part of Commencement Week in which faculty, students, and staff are recognized for the contribution to this class. We are proud and honored that many families are here. We hope they will sense the great experiences that we as students have had at Harvard. I would like to introduce a great friend of mine, a fellow marshal from the MPP class, Daria Kalawayo.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you. Over the next 2 hours, and hopefully this will be just 2 hours, we will share with you an array of awards and presentations and performances. And we hope that you will enjoy them and participate fully, Paul. So thanks for coming, and let's begin. The first 3 awards to be conferred are the John E. Thayer Award, the Frederick Sheldon Fellowship, and the Frank Knox Memorial Scholarship. Here to present them is Brenda White, who is the Assistant Dean of Enrollment Services, and as in that position, of course, she has the dubious honor of overseeing all of our financial aid considerations. So please welcome Brenda White.
Thank you. Dean Carnicel, faculty, staff, graduates, and guests, it is an honor for me to announce the recipients of the John E. Thayer Scholarship, the Frederick Sheldon Traveling Fellowship, and the Frank Knox Memorial Fellowship. The first, the John E. Thayer Scholarship, was established in 1857 to honor the 10 most meritorious scholars at each of Harvard University's faculties. The recipient, selected by a committee of faculty and administrators, must have a distinguished academic record and significant contributions to the school. The school's Thayer Scholar for 1993 is Xavier de Souza Briggs. Zav, as we affectionately call him, a 1993 MPA graduate, has displayed outstanding achievement in his coursework and was extremely active in extracurricular life at the school. He is to be commended for his enthusiastic dedication to the Coalition for Diversity, the KSG Admissions Committee, and the Hispanic Student Caucus. He was also committed to working on the Journal of Hispanic Policy and serving as an orientation advisor. Zav will be leaving us to pursue a doctorate degree in education and sociology at Columbia University. Zav, as this year's Thayer Scholar, you receive a citation and a check from the University Committee on General Scholarships. We are very proud to honor you. Congratulations. The Frederick Sheldon Fellowship provides an opportunity for a Harvard student to study and/or conduct research for one academic year outside the United States. Laurel McLaurin, a recipient of the Echoing Green Public Service Fellowship, has also been awarded the Sheldon Traveling Fellowship. Prior to coming to the Kennedy School, Laurel worked extensively with the Indonesia Planned Parenthood Association in addressing AIDS prevention. She was also directly involved in a groundbreaking effort to produce culturally and linguistically appropriate AIDS training material for the Indonesian Christian Health Services. While in Indonesia next year, she will be supporting the creation of a well-trained, committed corps of Indonesians who will work to prevent and respond to the AIDS epidemic in disenfranchised communities. Laurel could not be with us today, but please join me in congratulating her and wishing her well. The Frank Knox Memorial Fellowship is awarded to students for 1 year of research and/or study abroad. We are extremely pleased to announce that Mary Kay Gugerty was selected by the Committee on General Scholarships. You left me up here alone. She plans to study the effects of agricultural commercialization on women's control of income in Western Kenya. Prior to attending the Kennedy School, Mary Kay worked in rural Kenya with World Teach, where she taught English, directed and trained volunteer teachers, and coordinated development projects. Over the next year, she will use her outstanding managerial and interpersonal skills to research in Western Province, Kenya. After her year in Kenya, she plans to use her research as the basis for pursuing a PhD at Harvard in political economy and government. Mary Kay's academic success at the Kennedy School, combined with her experience, personal commitment, and proposal design, make her an excellent Knox Fellow. Please join me again in congratulating her and wishing her well.
Okay, quite a departure, actually. At this moment, we'd like to pause and pay tribute to a classmate who is not here today. I would like to introduce David Chu, who's a fellow MPP, who will voice the thoughts put together by the many friends of Irvie.
Today is a day of celebration, and celebrate we will. But during all of these activities, we'd like to take a moment to think about a member of our class who's not here with us. Irvie Thanawala, an MPP candidate who would have graduated with our class this spring, touched all of us in so many ways. When we hear her name, we recall her beautiful, unforgettable laugh. We remember her down-to-earth style. She was one of those people you could trust instantly and talk to at any time. She experienced life joyfully. She'd often be humming a song as she walked down the street. Irvie also had a little streak of mischief. She was a true leader in snowball fights. Although she was only with us for one semester, she contributed so much to the Kennedy School. She brought many of us together for the first time to paint Brighton High School as a City Year Project Coordinator. She helped to organize a celebration for Diwali, the Hindu Festival of Lights, sharing a part of her heritage with all of us. She worked with the Women's Caucus to set up an inner-city Girl Scout program. We knew her as a person committed to public service. When she took her life in January of last year, we were devastated by her loss. Many of us still struggle to understand why the happy, successful women that we knew could not be with us here today. But through this painful experience, we have grown stronger as a community. There's a part of Irvie that none of us knew. And through her death, we have recognized the need to search for the suffering that lies within each one of us and to overcome the barriers which keep us apart as human beings. However, we must not let her death overshadow what her life has given to us. As we move forward today, let us remember that public service is not just grandiose schemes to end the arms race, to clean the environment, to reform welfare. Public service also requires that we touch one another and that we know one another. And following Irvie's lead, that we paint the world together and that we share the richness of our experiences. There's a wooden bench in the back courtyard that our class dedicated to Irvie last spring. And in the next few days, grandparents, children, and hopefully many of us will have the opportunity to rest on the bench that bears her name. As we move forward today, let us remember that just as her bench supports us, that we support one another. We should not just share in our times of joy, but we must also rely on each other during our times of pain. That is the essence of the community which she helped to build here at this school. And that is the essence of the communities that we will build when we leave the school. The world is a poor place without our missing classmate. And as we leave the Kennedy School, let us each hold on to that part of her spirit that was so generous, so compassionate, and so loving, and take on her unfinished work in this world. May we please reflect together for a moment of silence in Irvie Thanawala's memory.
We think it's very appropriate right now to listen to Mr. Frederick Tombar III, an MPP student.
God stepped out on the space, and he looked around and said, I'm lonely. I'll make came down, they ended up. God heard the word. Well, then God himself stepped down. The sun was on his right hand, the moon was on his left, and the stars were clustered about his head. And God walked, and where he trod, his footprints hollowed the valleys out and bulged the mountains up. Then God stopped. And he saw that the earth was hard and barren. Well, so God stepped to the edge of the world. And he spat out the sun and sea. I mean, he batted his eyes and the lightning flashed, clapped his hands and the thunder flowed and the waters from above the earth came down. The little red flowers blossomed, the pine trees pointed and figured to the sky, and the mighty oak grew its own. And a rainbow appeared and curled itself around his shoulders. Well, then God raised his arm and he waved his hand over the sea and over the land and he said, bring forth, and quicker than God could drop his hand, fishes and fowl, beasts and birds swam the rivers and the seas, roamed the forest and the woods, and skipped the hand was doing. Well, then God walked around. And God looked around on all that he had made. He looked at his sun, looked at his moon, looked at his stars. He looked at his world with all of its living beings. And God said, how holy is this? So God sat down. By a deep, wide river, he sat down. And God thought, and he thought, till he thought, I'll make me a man. And there, the great God Almighty, who lit the sun and fixed it in the sky, who flung the stars to the foremost corners of the earth, this great God, like a man that's bending over a baby, knelt down in the dust. Over a river of clay until he said, his own image.
Fred, could Fred come out? Could Fred come out and please, I would like them to give him a bit of applause because it's very important what he said to us all. Please, Fred. Thank you. I will please ask Mr. Hale Champion, who was Executive Dean of the Kennedy School and was Financial Vice President of Harvard, to come and give the Manuel Carvalho Memorial Prize.
The Manuel Carvalho Award honors an old and dear friend of the schools and of mine, a practitioner and a lecturer who set remarkable standards for both kinds of activity. Most of these award entries first saw light as PAEs, but there is at least one major criterion for judgment here that is not necessarily the same as for PAEs, That quite simply is what Manny Carvalho stood for. He cared deeply about a lot of things, poverty, human dignity among. And I think he would have liked what these three winners today represent, because they carry with them not only compassion and competence, but a commitment to what they were doing. The first prize of $1,000 goes to Duana Carmichael. Her essay dwelt on how to bring the Girl Scout movement into the inner city in a more meaningful and relevant way. Not every leader of the Girl Scouts liked it. But most of them appreciated it, and I think it will have an impact for some time. After making this choice, by the way, we found out that she had also set a personal example of commitment by leading 2 troops in Boston during her time at the Kennedy School. The other 2 prizes are for $500 each. Paul Kokomo that this comes as a surprise. Paul's paper analyzed the resource and scheduling problems of teaching English as a second language in Cambridge, problems which have been prolonging unemployment and adjustment in frustrated immigrant families and neighborhoods for 18 months and more. I gather this may be one of the few times you've been silent all year. He took a class he'd been teaching over at the Cambridge City Council, and after their participation in a hearing, an ESL cutback which had been planned was not only restored, fully funded, but they're hiring a new coordinator to further develop the program along the lines Paul recommended. Dorothy Rosenbaum and Suzanne Calzonce. They shared this prize for their detailed and well-received suggestions to the State Department of Welfare on new requirement provisions, suggestions they based on interviews with both social workers and AFDC benefit recipients, as well as bringing to it what was an impressive understanding of the history and context of these requirements. Those are the 3 Manny Carvalho Awards.
To present the Lucius N. Liethauer Fellows Award, I would like to please ask Dutch Leonard, Academic Dean for Curriculum and Instruction, and Sue Williamson, Director of the Mid-Career MPA Program, mother, friend, confidant, social for all that.
Happy dog. Thank you. The roots of the Mid-Career MPA program
go back to 1936 to Lucius N. Littauer. Littauer was Harvard's first football coach, a glove manufacturer, and a congressman from New York. His vision and his financial donation began a graduate school of public administration here at Harvard. He said, and I quote, "The constant need in the progress of government administration, which this new school must meet, is for clearer, more lucid thinking through better trained men, men who must in the future, with certainty and integrity," remember it's 1936, come on, give the guy a break, you know, must in the future, with certainty and integrity, solve the economic and administrative problems of their day. In 1936, 16 men from various U.S. federal agencies enrolled, but we showed him. This year, 230 men and women from 45 countries working in local, state, and national governments, media, academe, nonprofits, and private industry enrolled in the Lucius N. Littauer Mid-Career Master in Public Administration program. Each year we honor Lucius Littauer by naming 10 Littauer Fellows. Students chosen for this honor have distinguished themselves academically, as well as in their contributions to the Kennedy School and Harvard communities, and in their promise of continuing leadership. It gives me great pleasure to announce this year's 11, so we can't count, Littauer Fellows. I will read the names, and as I read your name, please come forward. I will say something about you, and so you'll come and get your award, and Dutch Leonard will hand it to you, and you'll take your award and go back to your seat. And there will be, it is a good photo op, so if there are parents, come forward and get these pictures now. Let me first say that there are three, as I say, there are 11. 3 of these people are not here today. 2 of these students are Singaporeans, and they have returned to Singapore, but let me tell you who they are and a little bit about them. Chang Wee Ni from Singapore has a background of including a BA and an MA in economics. She has worked in the finance, internal audit, and personnel and taxation departments in respectively the Ministries of Education, Health, and Finance, and she has returned to continue her work in Singapore. Let's give her a round of applause. Sally Bryce O'Hara. Sally has been a commissioned U.S. Coast Guard officer for 17 years. Most recently, she was with the Office of Personnel and Training, and interestingly, it was her job to assign people to come to the Kennedy School. So, while here, she's been active in the Women's Caucus, in the New Members of Congress reception, and in the Cambridge Community Church's meal program. Also not able to be here is Yap Ong Heng, whom we know as Edwin. Edwin is from Singapore. He has an engineering background, and previous to coming to the Kennedy School, worked for 10 years in various positions in the Air Force Ministry of Defense. We're sorry that they cannot be here today. Sally will be here, though, for commencement. Catalina Crane. Stand here for a second. Yes. Catalina comes from Colombia, where she studied economics at the Universidad de los Andes in Bogota. She worked for 8 years at Federasoyo, a private research institute doing economic research. She also pursued her interests in macroeconomics and international trade policy and edited a journal on Colombian economic policy. While at the Kennedy School, she has participated in the Women's Caucus session on women in international development and in the International Development Series speaking on the Colombian economy. She has done all this while also raising 3 children. But I like it up here, Mom. Susan Eaton. Susan was with the Service Employees International Union for 12 years, involved in organizing, contract negotiation, and education and training. She spent last year as a Bunting Fellow at Radcliffe and as a Harmon Fellow with the Center for Science and International Affairs here at the school. Her working paper, Women Workers, Unions, and Industrial Sectors in North America, was published this year by the International Labor Office. Susan's other activities this year comprise a full resume. These include the Women's Caucus, the Mid-Career Working Group on Policy, Program, and Academic Excellence, the Working Group on Diversity, and the Women's Peace Initiative. She will continue her activism and writing as a Schlesinger Fellow next year. And next is Susan Eaton's husband, Marshall Gans. Marshall graduated from Harvard University last year, so this is his second commencement in 2 years. He dropped out of college in the mid-60s, went to work with SNCC in Mississippi, and then moved west to work with Cesar Chavez and the farm workers in California. He's worked on boycotts and campaigns with unions, environmental groups, and community groups, and, not surprisingly, he continued his organizing efforts at the school as the As the head of the Mid-Career Working Group on Policy, Program, and Academic Excellence. He also taught an organizing workshop series for the Hispanic Caucus and was the workshop coordinator for a seminar on future directions for American politics. Marshall will continue his studies toward a PhD in political sociology so he can get new tools to train and teach empowerment. Thank you very much. Carol Grodzins. Previous to coming to the Kennedy School, Carol had been working at the Harvard Institute for International Development with the Food Policy Program and the Mason Fellows Program. While at the school, she was one of 2 student members on the Mid-Career Admissions Committee. She was active in the International Development Professional Interest Council and coordinated a 2-day seminar and forum event on non-governmental organizations and their role in development. Carol will return to HIAD to work with Professor Marty Chen to create a new program on NGOs. Congratulations. Deborah Kears. Deborah is from Australia, where before coming to the Kennedy School, she was the principal advisor in industrial policy and business government relations to the Premier of Victoria. She also consulted to the Federal Minister of Social Security on federal and state relations. While at the school, she was involved in the early work of the Mid-Career Working Group on Policy, Program, and Academic Excellence, and has been involved in the activities of the Business and Government Professional Interest Council. Deb will stay on in the U.S. for a while before returning to politics and public management in Australia. She also is available to give lessons in speaking Australian to anyone who's interested. Kevin Knobloch. Congratulations. Kevin's career started in journalism before he became an advocate for several progressive causes. Most recently, he was the legislative director for arms control and national security for the Union of Concerned Scientists. This year, he has distinguished himself in his participation with the Mid-Career Working Group on Policy Program and Academic Excellence, with the Environment and Energy Professional Interest Council, and with his Get Out the Vote efforts in New Hampshire last fall. Kevin's goal, after many years of advocacy, trying to stop various projects, is to work toward building something in his next job. Emmanuel Nicolo. Emmanuel, years ago, was a university administrator in Nigeria, heading a department of food science. More recently, he was involved in nutrition and pharmacology departments in Canada and Minnesota. At KSG, Emmanuel has been on the Health Professional Interest Council. He made a presentation before Senator Kennedy's Committee on Labor and Human Resources on public health problems in poor communities. He's also been a key organizer of that pseudo-pick Dance Dementia. Hold on. One more thing. Emmanuel will continue to be involved in health policy since many of his 11 courses focused on that area. Woo. Otto. Daniel. And for the grand entrance.
First time he's ever stood in the back.
Yeah. Daniel Zobato. Daniel is the Deputy Director of the Inter-American Institute of Human Rights and the Director of the Center for Electoral Assistance and Promotion of Free and Fair Elections. He works in Costa Rica. Originally, he's from Argentina. He is a lawyer who has taught constitutional law and international human rights law, and he reminded us often that he was a lawyer as he struggled through economics. Daniel has been a driving force in the mid-career class, an active participant in the mid-career working group, and a tireless campaigner to make our curriculum more internationally focused. He's also committed to increasing our course offerings in democratic governance. Congratulations to Daniel and to all our fellows. Thank you.
Congratulations. I will please ask Dutch to stay and accompany Carmen Foster, Director of 2-year programs, to give the Don K. Prize Award.
Good afternoon. I want to say one quick word to the 2-year class, whether you're MPP or MPA. We came in together, and a part of you will still stay with me. Thank you for making my first 2 years at the Kennedy School so wonderful. You are all very, very great. The Don K. Price Award goes to the graduating MPA2 in recognition of commitment to public service and academic distinction. This award is named for Don K. Price, who was the first dean of the Kennedy School as it became the Kennedy School, and who serves as an exemplary example of these ideals. He retired in 1976, yet he still has an office on the first floor of the Kennedy School. Today, we have 2 recipients of this award. While the MPA class may be small, very clearly it is very, very mighty. Our 2 award recipients clearly represent these ideals through their service before entering KSG, while they have been students here, and are sure to continue these ideals after KSG as they depart to serve. Our first recipient came to us from Stanford University, was a consultant for Children Now, who was in the California legislature as a legislative assistant for Speaker Pro Tempore Mike Roos. Our second recipient worked as the assistant to the president this past summer at Miami-Dade Community College, and I think both of these people you all know, we all love. I'd like for Amy Abraham and Xavier D'Souza Briggs to please come down and accept their awards. While Amy is not able to be with us today, I'm sure that you will join me in saluting her as we also salute Zav. They are quite a wonderful group of people.
The next award, named after Robert F. Kennedy, is a very special award which recognizes the unique and selfless commitment of one who is dedicated to public service. And I can't think of anyone for whom it would have more meaning to present than Marshall Ganz. Marshall has a rich history of involvement in the causes that were closest to Robert F. Kennedy's heart. And we are extremely fortunate to have benefited from Marshall's presence in our community this year. For he has inspired in us the ideals of public service, which he lives. It is an honor to introduce Marshall Ganz.
For me, it's a real privilege to have been selected by my classmates to make this presentation this afternoon. It's a privilege for 3 reasons. First of all, the person in whose name this award is given. Secondly, the community on behalf of whom the award is made. And thirdly, the person whose work the award is to honor. Just a few comments about the name of the person whose name the award carries. As an organizer for farm workers in California, I had the opportunity to work with Senator Kennedy in the fateful California primary almost 25 years ago today. In some ways, it's not extraordinary that a person's deeds outlive them. But it is extraordinary for a person's dreams to outlive them. What was so extraordinary about Robert Kennedy's dream that it outlived him as it has? His dream was not a dream of what was. It was a dream of what might be. It was a dream of an America that might be, of a world that might be. It was driven by an imagination that didn't stop with asking why, but as he wrote, some men see things as they are and wonder why. I see things that never were and ask, why not? The courage to ask, why not, meant that his dream was rooted in a politics of justice, which required that it be a dream not just for a favored few, but a dream in which all could share. But Robert Kennedy's dream was also rooted in a spirit of love, which brought compassion to his sense of justice, a compassion demonstrated in his commitment to the farm workers, the poor, the excluded, so many of the things that we remember him for. His dream was also rooted in the acceptance of responsibility, that it's not enough to imagine a just and caring world. It requires taking personal responsibility for making it such a world, not in the future, but today. This award celebrates an expression of Robert Kennedy's dream in the work of one of our classmates. But this award is also given on behalf of the Kennedy School community, which was a part of Robert Kennedy's dream, because it was his decision that the legacy of John Kennedy be commemorated through this school and its institution, and it's no surprise that it is the community that it is. What a unique and important community this is that's gathered here this afternoon. On the one hand, it's a community of widely diverse perspectives, experiences, cultures, aspirations, different countries, different generations, different experiences. But on the other hand, it is a community because it shares a certain unity that transcends that diversity, and that unity is the values, a commitment to the values of public service, and a rejection of the cynicism and sterile materialism which prevails among so many of our peers. The fact is that while 2% of business school graduates enter some form of public service, and 5% of law school graduates do, over 70% of Kennedy School graduates either return or begin work in the public or nonprofit world. And I think that deserves a real round of applause for all of us. But it's not only a commitment to public service that describes the central values of this community. It's a commitment to leadership in public service. It's not just enough to serve. It's important to challenge others to serve as well. It's not enough to care. It's important to challenge others to care and to act on their cares. But how can we lead and serve at the same time? Isn't this a contradiction? In a sermon called The Drum Major Instinct, delivered just 5 days before he died, Dr. Martin Luther King told us something about this. And I think this might address some of us here at Kennedy School. Dr. King said, or preached, if you want to be important, wonderful. If you want to be recognized, wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness, and it means everybody can be great because everybody can serve. This award celebrates an expression of this community's values of leadership and public service in the work of one of our classmates. This award, thirdly, is given to honor that work which expresses a commitment to justice, to service, and to leadership. The recipient of this award, her vision of service is international, having served with Amigos de las Americas in the development of public health projects in Mexico, Costa Rica, and elsewhere in Latin America. Her vision of service is one of compassion, painting houses for the elderly through Servathon, working at the Boston Food Bank, working with young women in the Girl Scouts program, preparing Thanksgiving dinners for those who have none. Her vision of service is also one of leadership, both as an undergraduate at Berkeley and at the Kennedy School in the Public Service Interest Group, and as a co-chair of the Community Service Action Network, and someone who I'm told by her roommates was always arguing that there were more important things than problem sets, believe it or not. And they were right out there, right outside the door. Finally, her spirit of service and enthusiasm, the spirit she brings to it, the encouragement she's given to others, the enthusiasm which drives it all, is best expressed in a few words which Gandhi wrote that I want to share with you. Service can have no meaning unless one takes pleasure in it. When it is done for show or for fear of public opinion, it stunts the person and crushes the spirit. But service which is rendered without joy helps neither the servant nor the served. But all other pleasures and possessions pale into nothingness before service which is rendered in a true spirit of joy. It is a privilege and a joy to present this award to the recipient of the 1993 Robert F. Kennedy Public Service Award, Julie Murray, graduating MPP. Where is she? You know, in the the farm workers, we had an applause.
Thank you, Marshall. Congratulations, Julie. It is now a great pleasure for me to introduce two very good friends of mine, Chuck Rosenberg, two MPAs, may I say, Chuck Rosenberg and my compadre and best buddy here from Chile, Juan Manuel Aguirre. That will do our Latin American song.
Salgo a caminar por la cintura cósmica del sur, piso en la región más vegetal del tiempo y de la luz. Siento al caminar toda la piel de América en mi piel, y hallé en mi sangre un río que libera mi voz, su caudal. Sol de Alto Perú, rostro Bolivia, estaño y soledad. Un verde Brasil, besa mi Chile, cobre y mineral. Subo desde el sur hacia la extraña América y total, pura raíz de un grito destinado a crecer y a estallar. Todas las voces, todas las manos, toda la sangre puede ser canción en el viento. Canta conmigo, canta, hermano americano, libera tu esperanza con un grito en la voz. Todas las voces, todas las manos, toda la sangre puede ser canción en el viento. Canta conmigo, canta, latinoamericano, libera tu esperanza con un grito en la voz.
Thank you very much. I now have the pleasure of presenting this next award. Of all the awards given today, the Manuel Carballo Award for Excellence in Teaching is the only award conferred by the students upon a faculty member. Graduating students, reflecting upon their learning experience at the Kennedy School, nominate and select a faculty member who has demonstrated excellence in teaching both inside and outside the classroom. Specifically, a teacher is chosen who demonstrates dedication to students, excellence in the professional field, and commitment to public service. In light of this student-initiated selection process, the Carballo Award is the clearest voice with which students at the Kennedy School speak first to articulate the critical importance of teaching at this institution. And second, to recognize an individual who embodies excellence in teaching through their dedication to students within this community and their commitment to public service beyond it. Indeed, all the teachers nominated this year live the qualities that Manuel Carballo exemplified in his life. For their dedication to students and teaching, we would like to publicly acknowledge their tremendous contribution and to sincerely thank them.
We would ask please to stand if you are here as your name is called, and remain standing to receive our applause at the end. Tom Axworthy. Jan Schubert. Julie Wilson. Ron David. Jim Hines. Bill Apgar. Edith Stokey. James Brown. Ron Heifetz. Michael Barcelay. Mike Scherer. Jim Sivinius. Christine Letts. Henry Solano. Helen Hume. Dahl Forsyth. Henry Lee. Catherine Dominguez. Peter Timer. Shirley Williams.
As is evident by this distinguished list, the decision was a very difficult one. However, one teacher's selfless commitment to improving the quality of the classroom learning experience for all students through innovation and dedication has shown through. This commitment is best given expression in the words of the students who experienced it, that is, in your own words.
His dedication to students is unmatched. When the class size for a case discussion class was too big, instead of limiting the class size, he immediately volunteered to teach a second class, doubling his teaching load.
He delivers through unrelenting enthusiasm, projecting not just confidence in the material he is teaching, but in the students in his classroom.
He is tenured and directs a center, but he has not forgotten that ultimately Kennedy School government is a teaching institution.
He does more than listen. He digests students' perceptions and helps translate them into learning. And finally, one student wrote, "I knew Manny Carballo, and Jim Brown truly represents his commitment to public service and to teaching."
Congratulations. I would please ask, I think it's very appropriate that Edith Stokey gives the next award.
She has contributed for many years many things to our school. So I would please ask her to come up and give the prize for the Outstanding Policy Analysis Exercise and the Peter Lewis PAE Award.
The PAE awards, I'm sure, need no introduction to the members of the Kennedy School community, but perhaps a word of explanation is in order for our guests here today. The PAE, or Policy Analysis Exercise, is the Kennedy School's equivalent of a master's thesis. It is analysis of a real problem for a real live client out there somewhere in the real world. The PAE looms large in the lives of the MPPs. In a few minutes, you'll discover just how large when we hear the PAE choir render a hymn of praise to that effort. Steve Kelman, who is the chair of the PAE Awards Committee, is unable to be here today. Hence, it's my pleasure as a member of the Awards Committee to present this year's awards for the 3 prize winners. Incidentally, the list of winners is strictly alphabetical, so don't try to read anything into the order in which I announce them. The first prize award goes to Rod Bender, Wyman Briggs, and Diane DeWitt. Their PAE is entitled Toward Statewide Unit Pricing in Massachusetts. Pricing of what, you might ask? Municipal solid waste. In my day, we called it trash. This PAE is based on an impressive array of empirical data on trash. How we generate it, what we do with it, and what that implies for municipal solid waste management. Their recommendations are down to earth, politically feasible, and commendably unbiased. And a major contribution to the current debate, which is raging so hotly in some communities, on charging for municipal trash collection by the barrel. Congratulations to all 3 of you. The second winner is Matthew Eichner. His PAE is entitled Measuring Daycare Capacity Utilization in Massachusetts, a Stratified Sampling Approach. This PAE provides the local daycare community with a method for keeping track of the nature and adequacy of child care facilities, a method that reduces the time required by about 90%, yet also improves the accuracy of the estimates. We understand that Matt sold a group of daycare administrators on the merits of his approach by doing card tricks. We did not teach him that here. Wait a minute, I'm not done. I might add that Matt sold the awards committee by the clarity of his exposition and the creativity of the survey instrument he developed for collecting the data. Congratulations. The third award takes us about as far out of Massachusetts as we can get. It goes to Kristen Sample. Whose PAE was on promoting a free trade agreement between Chile and the United States. This PAE impressed the committee not only with its solid knowledge of Chile's complex economic situation, but also with its deep insight into the way things get done in the real world of international trade and finance. The importance of this PAE extends beyond the particular situation of Chile, in that it provides a useful and a concrete introduction to how a small developing country can begin to think about how to achieve its policy objectives in the United States. Congratulations, Kristen. We now move on to a PAE award that is being given for the first time. This new PAE award, the Peter Lewis Award, is made possible by a generous gift to the Kennedy School of $10,000. The award isn't that much, don't get excited. It comes from a happy PAE client, Peter Lewis of Progressive Insurance Companies. Mark Powell, who graduated last year, did his PAE for Mr. Lewis on insurance regulation. Mr. Lewis was so impressed with that PAE that he was moved to make this contribution in support of the PAE program. So we, in turn, have found a way to reward excellence in the PAE and at the same time support our own summer internship fund, which in turn supports students who undertake summer internships in worthy organizations that pay poorly. Each year, we will select the best PAE that derives from its author's summer internship experience. And we will donate that $1,000, the prize, to the Summer Internship Fund in the name of that student. In this way, the student is honored for outstanding work, and that excellence will make it possible for some other Kennedy School student to contribute to public service through a school-sponsored summer internship. The first winner of the Peter Lewis PAE Award is Laurel McLaurin. Last summer, with the support of the SIF Fund, Laurel developed an impressive AIDS prevention training program in Indonesia that will be adopted by the Indonesian Ministry of Health and used nationally to train healthcare workers. Brenda White has already described that effort in an earlier presentation. Laurel's PAE continues this life-saving work by applying her growing expertise to linking AIDS prevention with family planning programs in Latin America and the Caribbean in order to halt the growing rates of HIV infection among women in that region. Her PAE is currently being translated for presentation at the 9th International Conference on AIDS in Berlin. If I'm not mistaken, it must have been translated by now or they wouldn't get it there in time. Laurel is not here today, nor will she be here tomorrow for commencement. As Brenda noted, she is the recipient of the Echoing Green Fellowship to put her work into practice in Indonesia, so she's currently driving cross-country to visit her family before she leaves for Indonesia. Hence, our congratulations to her in absentia.
Thank you. I would like to introduce now a choir that for us,
the mid-careers were the only reason that we understand what was all about PAE. I think it's very clear, and you families will understand the hard work that all the MPPs had. Please.
I hope now you understand what is PAE, because I didn't. For the Kennedy School Student Government, I would like to present our president, Bill Castro, and my fellow marshal friend, Mark Harden.
We're winding down. Now we're going to have a little fun and recognize some of our fellow students. I'm going to be here just a second to introduce my good friend, the president of your Kennedy School Student Government for this semester, a person who's helped us change some things, or at least get started on changing some things around here, Bill Castro.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, this is a wonderful occasion, and recognition is always important, something we never do enough of. And I would like to ask all of the members of the Kennedy School Student Government, including the student representatives from the student organizations, to please rise. Would you do that now? We have a few awards. First one, and I believe this is the first of its ever being awarded, is the first annual Leon Panetta Should Only Be As Good As You Are at Financial Management Award to our former finance chairman, Yasmin Jackson. Yasmin, are you here? Still in Washington? We were going to give out the Woody Allen 80% of Life is Showing Up Perfect Attendance Award to Yasmin, but decided not to do that. It's been a bad day for Woody if you've read the papers. Secondly, we would like to make the award of the Cohooks are finally in the classrooms, but could you please fix the air conditioning award to mid-career Linda Taylor.
Linda's been a little ill, so I don't think she made it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, thank you. Well, I know this next person is here. This is the Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus, and his name is Mark Harden Award for not only performing during the Christmas time as Santa, but also making Christmas almost every Thursday at the many successful quorum calls and the many fine, fine special events that he worked on. I want to thank Mark for that.
How much beer will go in this, Bill?
Well,
it costs $1 or $1.50?
We don't charge you for the extra cup. Okay. We'd like to get a little bit serious here and recognize two student organizations that we feel exemplify the true spirit of student involvement. One of them has started out this year creating some real interest in what some of the issues were here at the Kennedy School. And through all the work and sometimes disagreements that everyone has, they really started, I think, a lot of people thinking about a lot of things. And I would like Beth Armand to come up representing the Coalition for Diversity. And another student organization that worked long and hard and raised our consciousness and got us to think about a lot of different things, presented an outstanding report. Representing the Women's Caucus, I would like Sally Tyler and Michelle Still to please come up. finally, I hope this last person is here. There is also a sort of a maxim, I guess, about bureaucracy in government, and people always saying, well, it's not my job. Those of you who haven't been out there yet, you will encounter this many times, believe me. But one person who has certainly shown that her job is many things and has been willing to take on many of the efforts that the student groups started with and has made sure that as we continue through the Kennedy School and as we leave it, that those efforts will continue, and that is Nancy Dietz, the Director of Alumni Affairs. Is Nancy here? Thank you very much.
Not so fast, Mr. Bill. Bill has led us through an interesting and sometimes difficult spring semester. We would also like to mention that Ian Sim, a two-year MPA student, was our president during fall semester and served us very well, getting a sometimes rambunctious group of representatives together, thinking along the same lines and working toward a common goal. I don't believe Ian is in the country. Ian, are you here? Let me know. I think you went, he needed to get back to England. But we have for Bill and for Ian a jade crystal that says, presented to Bill Castro, Student Body President, Kennedy School of Government, for outstanding leadership and service to your fellow students. Thank you, Bill. And now I'd like to join me at the podium, the rest of my fellow marshals. Come on up, guys. It's time to wrap this thing up and have a little fun. Just for introduction's sake, for our guests and families, of course, you've met Oscar and Daria, our master and mistress of ceremonies. Behind me is a young lady that I've come to admire and whose daughter I've almost adopted. Carrie Lopez, the marshal for the MPA 2 class. And Christina. And the second marshal for the MPP2 class, Thomas Steinbach. AKA Bob Reich. We have gotten together as marshals and thought about a way to honor the spirit of the 1993 class. And at first we wanted to honor every one of you, because every one of you has brought something special and something unique to this experience for all of us. But we're a little short on time. We want to get finished before the dance tonight. So we tried to recognize some folks and some groups who have done something unique or who represent a part of the class that we wanted to make a statement about. But before getting into that, I want to recognize some folks who have helped this whole week go smoothly, and they rarely get recognized. I hope the folks are here. They are the people behind the scenes who make things happen, and we normally just take it for granted. First are our caterers, the Gardner Merchant Group. Christine McGoldrick, Steve Hager, and Donna Freeborn have helped us immensely. Are any of you here? I want to recognize you and say thank you very much. Secondly, the facilities office, how in the world this place changes from a, I'm going to be upstaged for the next 20 minutes, I know, but that's okay. How this place goes from a cafeteria to a forum to a cafeteria to a dance hall is the facilities office. Larry Black, Gina Venturi, and Brian Conroy have helped us immensely. And thirdly, two people who have made my life tremendously easier this year scheduling events and scheduling rooms when there are no rooms and helping us anytime we had a problem. They were there saying, how can we help you make it happen? And that is the scheduling office, Stephanie Shea O'Connor and Anna Robinson. Are either one here? We have something for each of you for your offices. We will be getting it to you shortly. Now, to get along to the 1993 Marshall Spirit Awards. The first thing that I want to, group that I want to recognize is a group that's important to me and to many of us. Taking a year out of a life and uprooting a family and bringing them here is not an easy thing. And those of you who are our partners and our spouses deserve our extra thanks. Could we please, just for a second, would all the spouses and partners of students who have sacrificed for this year please stand so we can recognize you and say thank you. Now, we'll start with what started the year for many of us. Many of us showed up in July not knowing what to expect, into a hostile environment, at least for those of us from the South. Very cold here. It was nice to run into some people who made us feel welcome, who were innovative this year, and including the MPP class, along with the mid-careers, in the summer program. And I would like to present the first Spirit Award to Betty Baca and the summer program. Now, I know Betty was here. Yeah. Or is Jamie here too? I saw Betty here earlier. I think she went back to her office. Carmen's going to get her. Well, we'll move along and get her in just a second. This second award, I was surprised at how many students called us and asked us to do this. It's a group of folks who work for the school, but every time I've been there, they've been very helpful, and apparently every other student that I've talked to has had the same experience. We would like to recognize with the second Marshall Spirit Award the KSG Copy Center. Are Martine, Andrew, or Nancy here? That's Martine Osiran, Andrew Grace, or Nancy Brothard. Are any of those here? Come on down. Did Betty come in yet? She's gone? Okay.
Our next award goes to a person who's probably best characterized as working behind the scenes here. She truly is involved in every activity that goes on at the Kennedy School. I could read the list, but it would take me about 15 minutes, so I'm just going to sort of jump ahead and ask you to honor with me Monisha Mittal for her selfless contributions to the Kennedy School. She's in there.
Thank you, Tom. The next fellow has been introduced, has spoken, and has spent more time up here than any of us, and rightly so. I'm not going to say anything else. Marshall Gantz.
Next, we have a dear friend of mine. He's not only been active in the Latino Caucus and served as co-editor of the Journal of Hispanic Policy, but more importantly, he's brought to the Harvard community the spirit of his culture, our culture, by dancing with the Ballet Folklorico. He's been doing it the entire 2 years. He's kept it alive, being the only male at many times, and it's meant a lot to us and a lot to the university as a whole. Mr. Daniel Luna. And I happen to be the mother of one of his biggest fans.
The next person has been a friend of mine all year. Every time we've planned an event, the first thing I hear is, what are we going to do about the children? What are we going to do for the families? Someone who's always made sure that those constituencies and those part of our family were taken care of. The person who put me in that silly Santa suit. Come on down, Kendra. Kendra Warren. It's a long walk, isn't it? Where's Kenneth?
We're going to try to hurry it along. This next woman has been very active in all kinds of activities at the school, most especially the Asian Caucus. But predominantly, for the year, we started out with orientation, and a very important part of that was the Students of Color orientation. And she was the point person that made it all happen. We all helped out, but if it wasn't for her, it wouldn't have came through. Rami Dare.
With a lot of joy in my heart, I would think that all the international students should get an award, but we thought about 3 persons who could be representative of the work and the love we have for this university. I think I asked, please, David Tawira, Sandra Birch Lee, and Jairaj Kalaruchi to come up and receive the prize. I don't see Jairaj, but please, Sandra.
I'm going to ask you all to bear with me because this one is in iambic pentameter. What can be said about a man who brings to each of us so many wonderful things? In his class, his name was the only to flash. As the MC, he crooned like Reich with flair and panache. Who else could successfully lip-sync to Pavarotti? Or smooge Dutch Leonard into carving a turkey? It's Paul, of course, so please honor with me the man who would have our dean named Alberto Carnesali.
Thank you, Tom.
Hey, that's fine. Yeah, I need him.
Our next Spirit Award is to a trio. We couldn't separate them from each other, couldn't recognize one without recognizing all 3. They've been very involved in recruitment. We all talk about the importance of recruiting more students, diverse students to the school, but they actually were committed and made it happen. It's hardest to talk about the people that mean the most to you, and I love each of these three women very dearly. Bonnie Gonzalez, Rita Jaramillo, and Annie Alvarado. I'm sorry Annie couldn't be here. The next award goes to a body of students that have been very active on campus and definitely contributing to the spirit of the school through all their activities, but through a major activity of Apollo Night. We'd like to recognize the entire Black Student Caucus here at the Kennedy, and on behalf of them, if we could have Anthony Williams, Ernest Kinchin, Kristen Sturwalt, and Yasmin Jackson to accept their recognition. And Dewana, I'm sorry, Dewana, sweetheart, come up. Where is she?
I'm getting all confused here. Our next award goes to the only person to successfully achieve tenure in only 2 years in the area of social policy. So, for such strong efforts in motivating all of us to refine our social skills, and for holding extra office hours at the Bow and Arrow Pub down the street, we'd like to honor Tim Lum. How do you think they got me up here, Tim? Our next award goes to a person who is unfaltering in her dedication to introducing creativity and diversity to our community. Whether it's her efforts to organize a student art show or a strike for diversity, she is able to challenge each of us to put our thoughts and feelings into action. So for that, we'd like to honor Laurel McLaurin for her spirit at the school. As you already know, Laurel was not able to be here today, so we'll be sure and send her a certificate off to her.
Back to the mid-careers. The golden-throated mouthpiece for the mid-career working group, and a fellow who you're going to hear from later, who did an admirable job chairing part of the town meeting with the dean earlier in this year, and who represents many of the qualities that we all aspire to in the mid-career program, Mr. Kevin Knobloch.
This Spirit Award goes to someone who's been up at the podium already. She's in charge of the 2-year program. We'd like to recognize her for her special attention that she's given to students her 2 years that she's been here, and the extraordinary effort she extends to students and predominantly students of color to making that adjustment to the Kennedy community. Ms. Carmen Foster.
Now comes the tough one. The person who will be difficult to say goodbye to for all of us, our den mother, our leader, our spiritual rock, the person who makes the mid-career program go, and if it doesn't, she makes it go. I can't say enough about Sue Williamson.
final Spirit Award comes in the form of a personal thank you from each of the class marshals to the two individuals who were undying in their support and enthusiasm, even when the going got tough. So please join us in honoring Alexandra Smith and Marge Lucker for their commitment to making this commencement the best one possible.
Don't worry, we'll let you go soon. Okay, with the help of a lot of people in this room, we have compiled a video scrapbook, just when you thought we couldn't introduce any other form of media, which we hope captures the sense of friendship and common purpose which characterizes our lives here. This is a tribute to our spirit, but not necessarily our photographic skills. So I think we're going to watch it up here, if everything works.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moments with lovers and friends I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I've loved them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. And these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
Let's dance in style, let's dance for a while. Heaven can wait, we're only watching the skies. Hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Are you gonna drop the bomb or not? Let us die young or let us live forever. We don't have the power, but we never say never. Sitting in a sandpit, life is a short trip. The music's for the sad man. Can you imagine when this race is won? Turn our golden faces into the sun. Praising our leaders, we're getting in tune. The music's played by the madman. Forever young, I want to be forever
At the close of a pivotal year full of a lot of new ideas and a bit of turmoil, we thought it would be important for a mid-career and an MPP to share their thoughts and reflections on this past year together. As you all know, I'm an MPP, and as such, it is an honor to introduce mid-career Kevin Knobloch.
In the words of Rod Stewart, you have to be forever young to make it through this ceremony. And I thank you for your patience. I am before you to give tribute to the graduating two-year students, and it is a wonderful honor to do so. As a special treat, I want to take a few long moments just to retell the best of the mid-career war stories from this past year. I guess not. I had better not. I do want to say what I wish I had said to my two-year classmates at the town meeting with the dean during the last week of classes about the so-called tension between the mid-careers and the two-year students here at the Kennedy School. This tension has been real, I think, if not universally felt. You know the casting. Mid-careers are long-winded and self-important in the classroom. 2 years are naive and quick to speak before thinking. I guess so. That was a slip. These boxes we so quickly constructed are perplexing and they're troubling. For all our diversity in this room, we share more than we tend to acknowledge. We share a measure of privilege. We certainly share an abiding commitment to solving public problems. And if members of this group can so easily get enmeshed in drawing simplistic cartoons of one another, I fear deeply for our ability to address adequately the real traumas of our world. It also strikes me that wisdom knows no particular age. The two-year students I know are more wise than some mid-careers. I think that's that same person. Perhaps we mid-careers nurture our immature traits as a vestige of youth, mistaking them for the playfulness and risk-taking that are the more valuable juvenile qualities to carry through life. The wisest students, I think, quickly looked past surface impressions to seek the riches offered by the diversity of age, experience, and perspective, in addition to those of ethnicity, gender, and geography, that the Kennedy School brought together when it brought us together. Many of you, perhaps, came to see in us mid-careers people whose years of experience in pressure cooker jobs in and near government might bear some relevance to the road which lies ahead for you. I came to see in many of you an intensity of resolve, a clarity of mind, an ethical strength, and an appetite for engaging the marketplace of ideas. I also witnessed an impressive once I get a job. So, Jenny, Tom, Tony, John, Suzanne, Monisha, Wyman, Kristen, Rod, Carter, Nelson, Beth. I could easily go on, but I might get the hook. Please stay in touch. We mid-careers hope we have in some small way inspired you. But even if we have not, please know that you have inspired us. It has been a true pleasure. I want to close by sharing a poem that speaks to the great potential and indeed our responsibility to build upon our common ground even as we celebrate our differences. I dedicate this reading on behalf of the mid-careers to the graduating two-year students, to our graduating two-year classmates, because of the reservoir of promise which resides within you. We wish you Godspeed, and don't hesitate to call. This poem is called Human Family. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious, some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim they really live the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight, brown and pink and beige and purple, tan and blue and white. I've sailed the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world. Not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane, but I've not seen any two who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jibe, and lovers think quite different thoughts, lying side by side. We love and lose in China, we weep on England's moors, and laugh and moan in Guinea, and thrive on Spanish shores. We seek success in Finland, are born and die in Maine. In minor ways we differ, in major we're the same. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. Maya Angelou. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Now, as a mid-career, it's an honor for me to present somebody that I would love to work and be honored to work for, Monisha Mittal.
First, on behalf of the 2-year students, I would really like to thank Kevin for his very kind words. I, like others, have found it a real treat to share my graduate experience with the mid-career students. Over the course of our 2 years here, I feel we've been offered a glimpse at over 400 individual examples of how to design a career in public service. Both in and out of the classroom, we have benefited from listening to the voices of this experience. In class, I have found mid-careers to complement the analytics by asking challenging, reality-based questions. And in doing so, they're simply seeking to apply what we're learning to the detailed situations and problems which they know are out there. Please leave here knowing that, yes, you have been inspiring. The fact that some of you are in positions to hire some of us is inspiring enough for me. And preferably by August if you can arrange it. It is inspiring to find folks who are in the middle of their careers and who would rearrange their lives and sacrifice job security to seek further education. It is inspiring to watch these same folks retain their commitment through a very tough course load and remain adept in handling the daunting task of juggling partners, children, friends, and family. But what has been especially inspiring is your spirit. The mid-careers I know did not arrive here jaded or hopelessly cynical. In the middle of careers which strive to attain the public good, they came with a smile, and they leave here wanting to do more. That attitude alone has filled us with a sense of hope and not of despair, and about what is to come. We can only hope that when we get to the middle of our careers, and with this economy, that'll have to wait till we start one, but when we finally work up to the middle, that we retain that same perspective. Congratulations to the mid-career students, and we wish you the best of luck. In closing, really, truly, in closing, it is my great pleasure to present the They Are So Talented, What Are They Doing at the Kennedy School duet of Marita Ernie and Ernie Kinchin.
Test. Testing. Testing.
Go.
Testing.
Butterflies begin from having been another, as a child is born from being in her mother's womb. But how many times have you wished to be some other, someone than who you are? Yet who's to say that if all were uncovered, you would like what you would see? You can only be you, as I can only be me. Flowers cannot bloom until it is their season, as we would not be here unless it was our destiny. But how many times have you wished to be in spaces, time, places,